Hi, I'm Seth, and for my second spring project of 2016, I decided to take an old Bluetooth earpiece headset that you'd wear in your ear for phone calls, and use that as a music streamer through auxiliary connected to an aux input connected then to your phone through Bluetooth. So just moving on to description of project. Originally, I wanted to either make a Wi-Fi or Bluetooth music streamer. I didn't know which one I wanted to do first. But since I was going to have a big website project at the same time with it, I decided to stick to Bluetooth since that was a little bit simpler, and I also had the supplies of the Bluetooth module itself. So yeah, I wanted to use an all Bluetooth earpiece that I had that's used for phone calls, then connect that to a cell phone via Bluetooth as a way to deliver media audio. And then this could be connected to a car or a speaker that traditionally doesn't have Bluetooth and give it a Bluetooth capability. This is all in theory because, as you'll find out later, the project ended up not working due to a soldering error that I had. But even if it did work, I think that the audio quality would have been really low, and it would have had mono, not stereo sound, which would have been a downside to it. And kind of the reason why I wanted to do this project was because it was a hardware project, and in the past I've always done software-based projects such as websites or other programming type stuff. And so, I've always known how to solder and do hardware-based projects, but I've never actually done a vision tech project based solely on hardware. And as I said, the end result, I became a typical consumer because I'd end up go out and buy my own that does something kind of like what I made. So moving on to mastery of technology used. For my tools, I used two different Instructables from Instructables.com, and I kind of used the information from both and used what I wanted. And then they needed a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, a soldering iron, and the Bluetooth device itself of the old headset, and BT Mono. That's an app for my phone, because traditionally, like with these Bluetooth headsets, is that it's used for phone audio only, because this headset came out like pre-smartphone era, so it wasn't used for media streaming. So BT Mono made it capable of the headset to be able to have media sound, not just phone call sound streamed to it. What worked? Like I said, at first the Bluetooth earpiece worked because and I'll get into that later, I had a soldering issue that ended up just ruining the device. My phone's Bluetooth worked, BT Mono worked, and then later the Bluetooth earpiece didn't work. Moving on to project plan review. Project plan was all good. I followed it through, except that it broke. And like I said, the audio quality probably wouldn't have been very good in this. So I wanted to plan for my last week to maybe find tips or tricks that I could do to maybe get the audio quality better if it was bad. But I ended up just using my last week trying to revive my project. So for project results then, I did get the Bluetooth device to work, but what happened, going back to the previous slide, as you can see in the arrow in the left picture, that wire for the negative came undone on the Bluetooth module. So I ended up having, and you can see in the picture on the right with the arrow, I ended up having to try to solder it back on. And this is really tiny wire in really, really tiny spots. And I did get it soldered, but then when I go to turn it back on, it did not work, and I could not figure out why. But I did get it to work because when the wire was still off, it worked. I was able to hold the wire on with my hand and get some audio quality or audio sound to go through. So I know it did work, but then I decided to solder it back on and then totally ruined my project. So just kind of an overview of my project. What did I learn? Well, I guess I learned don't get things too hot and ruin whatever you're working on. Problem solving is something I had to use in this, as the Bluetooth device did not work at first. I could not get it to connect to my phone. Also, part of the problem is I tore the case off and I had to tear it into pieces. And then I had no clue what kind of Bluetooth device I had to look up instructions of how to connect it to my phone. But I was ended up able to press the buttons on there in some random combination. I was finally able to get it to be put into discovery mode for my phone to find it and connect to it. And biggest successful moment was hearing the music the first time through it when I was holding the wire on. Until then, I soldered it and ruined it. And to do my project differently, I guess I'd say find some other way to reattach the wire, or just be more careful in the first place not to break it. And I guess solder safer. I probably could have used a second set of hands to hold the wires better, so I didn't have to hold the solder on as long or anything like that. So maybe it could have been less heat to maybe melt something else or ruin something. But I liked the project idea, and I hope to make a real dedicated Wi-Fi streamer that way. Like if your phone or computer is connected to your home network, and then you could have some old router then connected to some speakers that you could stream your music to that. That's what I hope to do in the future. But this was a good start to kind of the idea, and I hope to improve it in the future. Thanks for watching.